there's a topic of discussion. The music industry has always been an ongoing topic of discussion, especially kind of in this day and age with the kind of current climate of the music landscape and the labels and streaming and everything. Like there's always people's opinions about where it's headed, if it's still viable and whatnot. But over there on the Joe Budden podcast, they had a discussion once again. Seems like one that's kind of been ongoing of why is the music industry dying? So let's check that out.
Why isn't music selling as well? Like I've seen some artists do 15,000
streams.
Should be trash. I think for the most part.
Melissa Ford said streams. Ish. That's the name. Ish. Ice. I don't remember. One of them said it's trash. And two things can be true. There is a lot of trash music out there, an absolutely ton of trash music. Streaming also has heavily impacted the ability, the attention span to find good music or to stick to music. Like no longer is one album kind of coming out and people are living with it for 3, 4, 5, 6 months at a time like they used to when CDs just come out, even year. It's on to the next one because there's always something new dropping. Streaming has made it so accessible. We kind of talked about this like last week. There's 120, on average, they have found out that on average, there's 120,000 songs per day being released on streaming. That equals 43 million songs a year. So how could you possibly sell if you are not one of the biggest artists on the planet? Because my attention span ain't gonna be devoted strictly to you. There's always something new being pushed in my face. Go listen to this. Cool album. Have you heard this one? This one's coming out. This one's out now. Like it's just impossible to keep up. So two things can be true because of this: the ease, the speed of release. Music is trash because people spend a lot less time perfecting the music, refining the music, making it be an actual product instead of like a commodity. A product worth owning versus like an expendable commodity. So two things can be true.
I don't think the goal is
It's to sell
the
it.
shift has been away from selling albums.
Facts.
I
But
think
we're
now
seeing
it's
mainstream
playlists
artists do 9,000 and 15,000.
People don't make albums.
They're not
anymore.
making albums for
true.
long-term consumption no
I'm
more.
also-
It's get you 3 or 4 records that's going to go on this playlist, and that's what we living off of.
There's been some albums that sold well this year. Kendrick did what,
Tyler.
$160 second year. Tyler
But we
did.
talking
Tyler
about
been cooking.
but these are the
Yeah,
big
but look at
dogs
those
who consistently
albums.
do.
Those are.
But we're talking
Those
about
are
outliers.
album sales.
What I'm talking about, the construction of those albums are really thought out. Their themes.
These
to
are the
it.
artists.
A point I've had, and I've made multiple times on the stream and just anywhere I kind of discuss music with anybody. Why is music so different? Why is music so kind of looked at as being worthless and almost like expendable and not valued at the same level that it once was? Because artists also are not valuing it at the same level that they thought it was. They got caught up in the game of having to release constantly. And if you're going to release constantly, your quality cannot be good. It just cannot be good because you are not spending the proper amount of time. You are not living. You are not having experiences that will resonate into actual projects and make people want to sit down and listen to from front to back. That is just what it is. The difference between those legacy acts, because they are legacy acts now, they've been out for almost a decade or more. Tyler Creator, like Kendrick Lamar, even like Drake or Taylor Swift, who still do crazy numbers, is because when people who have grown up with them, who have a fan base, they know when they put out a project, it is going to be a well thought out piece of art that is worth listening to each and every song on the project. Whereas a lot of these newer artists, not always their fault, also because of kind of the way the industry is working now, they're only putting out singles or songs that are going viral on TikTok or Reels or whatnot, and not actually focusing on the entire project because they don't see the results. They don't see the instant results, but they do see instant results when a song goes viral. So if they can have a song or multiple songs go viral, get some good streams, like they're basically content. And there's really no reason for them to even put out an album. When they do put an album, it's always rushed. It's always barely thrown together. And it's like, why did you even do this? Other than to, I don't know, other than to like basically make people or reach contract obligations. Like most people shouldn't even put out albums these days because they're not putting the effort, they're not putting the time, they're not going away. Like very few artists can go away for 5 years like Kendrick and spend that time developing an album, go through shit in life, like put that in a project and make it something that's an experience worth sitting down and listening to from front to back. Very few artists are capable of doing that or even have the leeway to do that, because if they go away for too long, some of these artists, they will be forgotten immediately.
These are artists who really push the envelope in making projects.
Majority of the field are making songs to get put on playlists to last for a couple weeks, and they're coming back doing it again.
A majority.
Ice Spice, Sexy Red, even Cardi B, they've made their living and careers off this point strictly off of viral songs. Single listens that can be listened to multiple times because that does have replayability, but they do not like necessarily resonate in a fuller project. Like back in the day, every artist had singles. You had a street single, one that was strictly for the streets, one that is like get people hyped for like the actual music part of your project. And then there's the single, the one that is aimed for the clubs, that is one aimed for the radios, that's going to get the not diehard listener, the not diehard rap fan to like really be interested in what you have and what type of music you're putting out, because it is such an irresistible, undeniable hit. So you had 2 singles and then a project came. And then when the project came, you bought your CD, you sat down in your basement, in your car, your friend's house, wherever, and listened to that shit from front to back, from front to back. And those days are just gone. Like that releases are no longer a thing that you built up to. Back then you had time, you had promo runs, you had single runs, you had everything to build up to the big final like release, which was the project. And that's just not something that many artists do or are even capable of doing these days.
Majority artists are not, even if they're not specifically targeting
I mean, like I said, Ice Spice put out an album of all the singles she had released to that point. That is not an album. That is a compilation of everything that you've been putting out.
playlists or radio. They're not necessarily putting their all into it because it doesn't return the value. I'm not going to spend 2 years fucking obsessing over every little noise and every little cadence I use in my rap when this shit is going to disappear in 2 weeks.
Spending all these money for these fucking engineers to make my shit sound crazy.
I don't like that though. I don't like that because if you look at Doechii, right? Very new artist. Album nominated.
Not as new.
Easy to do that. Easy to do that when it's your first.
I get that, but if you listen to her, she talks about how she created that project and all that stuff. Nothing about her album plays like a playlist. Even though every song doesn't tie into each other, it still sounds like a thought out project.
Doechii's TDE.
She got to push
a good point.
It's different. Yo.
They don't do that over there. They subscribe to artistry. TDE as a whole. Nobody from TDE puts out quick consumption playlist music.
That's true.
Okay,
they don't allow it.
I don't like that.
That's facts, because labels are also a big kind of part of that. If you're signed to a label whose only modus operandi, only kind of way they operate is for profit, they're just trying to make and squeeze the most amount of money they can from each and every artist that they sign, then of course they don't want you to put out albums. They're not going to put a ton of money behind albums. They're not going to allow you the time and pay for the studios and pay for everything else needed to properly piece together a project that can take years together that will only return minimum, if anything, in return for the amount of money they put in. Because that was the reality of artists back then. Yes, you got a lot of albums back then. Yes, they allowed people to take years to develop and like really put out something that was worth kind of listening to. But the failure rate was just as high. It was just as high. Most labels were only held afloat by one to three. 1 to 3 artists max were running and keeping these labels profitable. Everybody else, swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss. But as long as we got this cash cow who continues to produce hit after hit, album after album, success after success, we can take these risks, we take these chances, but that has changed. Those dynamics have changed. Those big artists no longer need these labels in the same way. So like they don't have that same access to the money they were basically printing back in the day. So they're far more risk averse than ever before.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Give me an example.
Don't get me wrong. I do think that TDE.
So like I said, so having artists like TDE, having a label like TDE, maybe Interscope, like honestly not. Like honestly, TDE is one of the very few art labels out there that have had massive success that will still allow artists to be artists, that will let a musician take their time, take years before they put out anything and like really develop and even put out music, like I said, that isn't strictly for playlists, that isn't strictly for clubs, but actually build a fan base, a core fan base that they can carry them for a decade, which is something that is missing from a lot of these major labels. They do not know how to develop artists anymore.
He 100% wants you to do that. But when you listen to certain people speak, I don't ever think that she came into the game thinking she was going to be like everybody else creating projects, playlists and shit. She seems like, it seems like they're following behind. They get these type of artists because that's what they want. But I don't want to go ahead and make it seem like it's a TDE thing. That much to me.
But she might have never got picked up by another label that wasn't focused on artists.
They have built that artistic
Them
culture.
niggas are, like
They don't play that shit over there.
So the quality matters.
You gotta
over
be
there. If you chasing a quick joint, this ain't the place for you.
Okay, all right, cool. So let's just say if people are seeing that formula work, right? Because it's working. Even to Absol's project, and it might not be doing the numbers.
It's working to who? To who? TDE is not a big label. As much success as they had, as big as their artists and songs that have come out of there, obviously SZA, obviously Kendrick Lamar, mega superstars, they are still a small label. They are considered a indie, almost boutique label still to this day, despite the success. So yes, they can take those chances, and their bar for success and for profitability is much lower than like a Warner Music or a Universal or a Sony. Their overhead is very tiny. The amount of people getting paid at Universal, Warner, Sony, rightfully so or not, a lot of them not rightfully so, that payroll is insane. Their promo like spend is insane. So their bar for success and profitability on an artist or a project is much, much higher. So for TDE, that's successful. Selling 100,000 over a course of an album, 200,000 over a course of an album, building a core fan base, that is successful for them. But if you ask Warner, Universal, Sony, and those, is that considered success? No, that is an absolute failure to them. Back in the day, if you did not make 1 million sales on an album going platinum, if you did not go platinum, you were a failure. Like you were a failure. You could have sold over 500,000 albums, physical albums, and still been considered a failure, and you might not get that second release. So the differences between like a TDE and other artists is what they consider success, what they consider profit. Like just they're working on two completely different scales. We're talking about the biggest labels to have ever walked this earth compared to TDE. They're really not in the same ballpark.
They're not chasing numbers. But go ahead.
But it's having the influence and people are really responding to it.
Correct.
Why won't other artists follow the same route?
Because
either other labels.
our needs are different.
Follow to a label. Yeah,
Not just that, our needs are different, bro. I got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Because it's the hardest thing to do. Being an artist is hard. Yes, they've had success. Yes, they found their niche. They found their audience. But to be an actual artist is hard as fuck. And not only that, but to do it over and over and over and over again is incredibly hard. The most viral, the most like instant success artists you can think of, they might be able to do it once. They might even have a whole project worth of good stuff. But after that one, can they reproduce that? Can they find another lane? Can they keep evolving over and over again? No, like that is extremely hard to do. Even the biggest albums, biggest artists that you imagine have not been able to continuously do it over and over and over again. 50 Cent had the highest selling album basically of all time. And yes, The Massacre followed up, but like 2 albums in, he was already seeing a steep decline. And yes, obviously audience tastes change, music changes and whatnot, but like he also could not find ways to evolve with the current landscape and be successful in music over and over and over again. And he had the biggest opening in my memory ever. And like, to think that these new artists that don't even like do mixtapes, put out songs, hit the road and do small tours, do house shows, that don't do none of the groundwork are going to all of a sudden become an artist. Come on, bro. They're in it for the money. That's it. The money and the clout.
Yeah. You know, we had Reason sit up here and told us where he was like, yo, I got like, yo, dog, I need to get this out.
Yeah.
Y'all will stop me from getting this out. I need to tour. I need to eat.
Yeah. He said that.
Everybody can't wait the 5 years to put out a project and all right, trust in the believe the system, and everybody can't do that.
True.
Some people are, yo, I need to hit now, and we need to get this out. We need to get this out. We need to get this out because now I can get the road. Now I can sell some merch. Now I can do this. Now I can do this. I need to live outside with my music.
And a bunch of the labels want money.
That too.
They don't give a fuck about your artistry, nigga.
Yeah.
Go ahead and be
Artistry's
Maya Angelou over there. We need such and such over here. I guess
the conversation changes for me because at that point, then I'm just thinking
Facts, bro.
short term versus long term. When
Facts, bro. Like, keep the artistry shit to yourself, dog. Like, that's cool. You want to hear all this artistry, hippy dippy shit? Go play that shit in the basement for yourself. I'm signing you to a label. I'm putting all this money behind you. I need hits. That's it. Like, we have investors. We are a publicly traded company. That's a different type of pressure versus TDE, who don't have those pressures, don't have investors, don't have publicly traded, don't have to answer to stockholders. Like, that is basically the core of it. Like, companies, corporations are not people. They are machines that just want money. They only want money. So if you are not producing money for them, we don't want you. And like, what's quicker? I can get 20 different artists and they can follow a formula to have viral hits and viral songs and then milk that shit as far as I can, get their tour money, get all the advertising money, get their streaming money, get all that shit, like get all their syncs, like get milk one single or a couple singles as much as I can, then on to the next one, or developing an actual artist, generational artist. Like, there's a reason why there's only so many per generation and why they come up only now and again. It's because it's the hardest shit to do in the industry. The best artists, the best A&R people, there's a reason why they get paid so much, is because they were proven that they can find an artist and develop them. That art form of finding an artist, finding an underground person, and developing them into an artistic career is dead. Labels don't even have A&Rs at the time. They sign you because you already had buzz. You had a song that went viral. They just want that money. They gonna milk that single. And then if you can't find a way to develop that into a career yourself, we can find another one.
when you get into the game, really trying to be in the game. And yeah, you might get those one couple of records, boom, 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 but you know eventually that's gonna fizzle out. Like
Which is why a lot of people today are using.
Now I want to go into
hip-hop
acting. I
as
want
a
to go into
stepping
acting.
stone.
I want to go
I want to
a
get
brand
here,
deal. I want,
get hot, and now pop off over here. Now I went and got a deal here. I got this. I'm in a movie here. I got XYZ going on because it ain't no music, ain't no money in just music.
That goes back to Ian's initial question of
Facts, because the most money in music is not from streams, is not from album sales, and not from single sales. Artists don't get paid shit from that. They don't get paid shit from that. But you know what they do make money from? Tour, merch, brand endorsements, advertisements. Like, they get money because they up their profile enough that other companies, other businesses want to do business with them. Sexy Red, I guarantee she made more money off of her stupid little lip gloss line than she ever did from music. Her tours don't sell like that. Her shows don't sell like that because she don't have a catalog of music, but because she does have fame now, she has name recognition, she has notoriety, brands, advertisers want to spend money with her. And she keeps that money. She don't got to pay to the label. Most of the time, there are some 360 deals that are absolutely fucked, but most of the time, the artist keeps that money themselves. So why would they keep making music when their whole basically point is like, I'm making more money from this now? Why would I keep making music? T Grizzly had a smash hit first day out. Absolutely smash single. Went super viral. Albums, flopped. Full projects, flopped. Music ain't paying. Touring ain't really paying like you thought it was. Label taking money off all that. But he had name notoriety now. He has recognition. He starts streaming. And because he has a name, people follow him. Gets a little buzz. People start watching his streams. Advertisers, brands take notice. Start cashing him out. I'm making more money just doing streaming than music. Why would I go back to music? The whole point nowadays is not to be a musician or an artist. It's to basically get clout, get fame, get a hit single, and then transition that into something else. That is basically what most people are now doing in the game, in the music industry, especially in hip hop. That is basically the whole point of what they're trying to do, is just get recognition so they can like get a bag somewhere else.
Why aren't out? Because people aren't really in this shit for the actual music aspect.
Yeah.
That's the larger part. No one wants to actually be an artist anymore.
And the fans aren't demanding that.
That's true too.
Well,
Nigga,
true.
we just had J. Cole, who was arguably number one, right?
He's up there.
He's up there. He's in a different
He's in the
stratosphere.
conversation, Yes.
Jay-Z walked over to Drake and said, yo, by the way,
Well, this was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years
15
ago.
years
a minute ago.
Minute ago.
Yeah, that's not.
he was an artist 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
He
needed
wasn't
one?
chasing numbers. He wasn't chasing whatever the case
He
may
was chasing
be.
the hit.
Yo, get him one.
He
He was
needed it.
chasing the hit. He needed it, yeah.
Why?
Power
He was
collaboration.
chasing the hit.
Chasing
right
the
now.
hit. He needed
Bro,
a hit.
why
Look,
did he
look.
need it?
To expose people to the larger body that he was creating. Not just because we need to get some money off of him, but we need to expand his reach. And the best way to expand his reach is by getting a hit to attract people to actually listen to the album.
Bro, a lot of people look at it like this here, bro. If I'm a chef, and yes, I could whip up some incredible shit that takes me a long time. But if I could just do some quick minute bullshit and y'all are gonna eat it and still
sell a
pay
bunch
for
of
it
chicken
and not
nuggets,
complain,
I'm going with the chicken
I'm gonna go
nuggets.
this easier route.
Cool.
And I'm just gonna keep selling
Cool.
y'all this.
That sounds like a restaurant that's open for about 5-6 months until people
yep.
realize there's somebody
Or
around the corner.
McDonald's.
Or
McDonald's.
Wendy's.
Very few McDonald's though.
For sure.
Yeah, duh. That's something that's always been happening in music, but you don't need a label anymore. So yes, there's going to be a lot of these fast food junkie artists, musicians that put out music, put out songs that you remember for the time period, but then move on quickly to the next one. Like, yes, you're going to see a large increase in that because the barrier to actually make music is basically non-existent. So anybody could put out a song and go viral nowadays. Doesn't mean that they're going to continue to put out a body of work that you want to continually follow. Like they said, because technology made it so easy, so easy. So basically, like, almost free. You can basically make music for free these days, like, especially hip hop, where you can just get a beat from somewhere or get somebody to make a beat and just say some shit over. It doesn't take a lot. And as we've seen multiple times, like, it really don't take that much to go viral. There's a lot of songs that have gone viral that just are not good songs. But because for whatever reason they hit that right moment, they hit that right audience, they hit that right kind of niche, they've gone viral and they've brought them money and success and whatever. Like, so you're going to see a large influx of that, of Me Too's and copycats, because they see these people doing it. Why can't I do it? Like, basically making joke songs that have turned into money and success and notoriety and fame. And like, that doesn't mean I've always wanted to be an artist. The difference between like hip hop and like an instrument based genre like rock per se is to be successful in rock, you have to like know your instrument, and that takes dedication, that takes years of practice, that takes, you know, vocal coaching, that takes a lot of things and a lot of effort. And there's still that barrier of entry that most people are not willing to do or even like want to put the time in to the level that it would kind of take. Whereas hip hop, I can find someone on the street, tell them get on a mic, write some shit for them, put them on a beat, and boom, there's a song out. It caught virality, hit the right audience, hit the right mold. Now we got Sexy Red. And that's literally all it takes nowadays for hip hop. So you're going to see a extreme amount of people coming in and out like that are just here today, gone tomorrow. That does not mean the industry is necessarily dead or that music is dead. It's just that quality music is getting overwhelmed. Quality hip hop music is being overwhelmed by trash. And I don't know a solution for that because there is no barrier. There is no quality control. People listen to whatever is out there. And like, it takes a lot to kind of break through as an actual artist. But when that one artist or two artists, three artists actually do break through, there's a reason why they resonate so much deeper, why their tours sell, why they can create albums, why they can go on to have careers that last decades as opposed to months, is because they are artists. And there's still that separation between artist and musician, or someone that makes music. And there is a big difference, especially in hip hop. And I just think that's something that you're going to continue to see just expand even more once they realize, like, damn, I really ain't paying that much anymore. Like, people are eventually going to kind of catch on a little bit to, like, yeah, you're just doing shit to just get viral. But that's my thoughts and opinions about, like, why the music industry is seemingly dying, especially in hip hop, and like why it ain't selling.